Good evening, students. Today we're doing in Chapter 9, Lesson 2, Adaptations and Variations. When we left off, we had just finished talking about space, food and water, and everything else that goes with lowering what can limit population growth, such as the climate, space, food, and water. So in Chapter 9, Lesson 2, we're talking all about, and building upon that, adaptations and variations. And how we're going to do that is we are going to have to learn how do adaptations help an organism survive, and how do variations affect the survival of the population. So first off, we're going to have to go to our books, look at Figure 1 of page 329 while I'm talking with you. And what you'll see there is a cactus with some organisms around it. So each organism has unique adaptations, which are the behavioral and physical characteristics that allow an organism to live successfully in its environment. This means being able to attain resources such as food and shelter from in the environment, and being able to reproduce. As you can see here on the page, we have in Figure 1 many types of organisms. These many organisms on here have different adaptations, which we're going to learn about in a minute, but see if you can notice any while I'm going over the page with you. First one I notice is the actual hawk going in on the cactus. I notice its long beaks and also its long feet. But other than that, what else do you see? Well, you may notice the woodpecker as well. And these both are going to give us our different types of adaptations. First one we're going to talk about is behavioral adaptations. So every organism has a variety of adaptations that are suited to a specific environment, help it to survive. Behavioral adaptation is a behavior that helps an organism to survive and reproduce. An instinct is a behavioral adaptation. An instinct is something an organism is born with. An instinct is when an organism can perform this behavior correctly the first time without being taught. Think about the first time you play dodgeball and you're watching what's happening. Somebody throws a ball at you, what do you instinctively do? 9 times out of 10, you are going to move as quickly as you can so you don't get hit by a ball. That's a behavioral adaptation that we have. Again, the organism can perform the behavior correctly for the first time without being taught. In the case on 329, the elf owl's defense strategy and a spider's ability to weave a web are instincts. Other behavioral adaptations are learned through practice and experience. For example, a wolf pup is not born knowing how to hunt. It learns to hunt from the other wolves. So behavioral adaptations can also be something learned, and what we would call instinctual over time. Okay, like I said before, 9 times out of 10 you dodge that dodgeball, but there's always somebody that didn't learn it the first time by looking, and they get hit with a ball. So then they learned it for the next time. The next type of adaptation we're going to talk about is a structural adaptation. And you'll notice the woodpecker on 329 on Figure 1, you'll notice it has a long beak. That's actually a structural adaptation. So a structural adaptation is a physical characteristic that allows an organism to survive and reproduce. Examples of this would be beaks and poisonous tentacles. Organisms have many different structural adaptations for different functions. Some structures, such as beaks and poisonous tentacles, help predators find and capture prey. Other structures, such as sharp teeth, help predators to eat their prey. In turn, structures protect or help organisms from becoming prey. So how do variations affect the survival of a population? So members of a species generally share the same characteristics. However, individual members have differences or variations. Some variations may help individuals survive better in their environment. When members of a species survive, the population will survive. The process by which individuals with variations most suited to their environment survive and are most likely to reproduce is called natural selection. Scientists have observed natural selection on a small island in the Pacific Ocean. The island is home to different species of birds called finches. This is a very popular experiment in science that if you continue learning in science in college, these earth sciences, you will continue learning about this experiment done on these finches in these island chain in the Pacific Ocean. The members of one species are adapted to eat small, easy-to-open seeds of a certain plant that grows there. All their beaks are similar, but vary a little in size and strength. Drought periodically hits the island, and the plants that produce the small seeds, they die. So the normal food supply of the finches disappears. But another plant on the island thrives in the drought. It also produces seeds, but they are large and tough to open. The finches with weak beaks cannot open the tougher seeds, so they die or fly to another island to find food. The finches with the stronger beaks can eat the tough seeds, and they survive. When these finches reproduce, they may pass this variation to their offspring. Because these finches survive, the population survives. If you look in your book on page 332, there's figure 4, and that's where I just read this word for word from. It shows how variations in a grasshopper population help individuals to survive. So go back on 332, and when you have a chance, reread that and think about those finches and why some of them had to leave and some of them got to stay on their island. It has to do with natural selection.